amazing conference, and thank you for letting me presenting my work. So, hi everyone, my name is Gayoung, and I'm doing my PhD at the University of Washington, Seattle. So today I want to introduce one of my dissertation projects. Um, well, I rather than actual context of my project, I want to show how I use the open data, open methods, and also I want to show how I open and share my research to everybody. My research topic is to understand the technological transition around 40 to 35,000 years ago in Korean Peninsula. Um, so that transition is kind of summarized as some early Paleolithic to late Paleolithic. In Korea, we don't really have middle Paleolithic like other European countries have, because of the we don't have any clear evidence of existence of Libalua technology. So uh, um, this is the most kind of important artifact in Korea for the late Paleolithic. This is the first composite tool, like made out of blades and also made out of uh, uh, not coarse materials, but more refined materials like hornfels, shales, or rhyolites. We called it as a stamped points. So previous work are all mostly focusing on where this technology came from, like where's the origins. But my work is more focusing on the human behavior related to this transition. And my research questions are what changes in the foragers' landscape use were associated with this introduction of the new tools? And what changes in the way people use habitation sites and mobility were associated with the new technology? So to answer these questions, I use the concept of cultural revolution, especially human behavior ecology, or HBE. So I conduct some multiple analysis with the stone artifacts from the 22 sites and 33 assemblages. And then to understand the related social or ecological backgrounds or ecological contexts, I use open data for the paleoclimate like simulation data, and also SPD, the summed probability distribution, for possibly understanding the population patterns. Um, yeah, to conduct this research, I spent more than 2 years to just gather the data. It doesn't mean that I did excavation or I went to field to collect the stone artifacts. I just collected the excavation reports or related documentations, but it still takes over 2 years. Because some are already shared through online so that I can go to some Korean governmental website, I can download it, but some are not shared with the public or even the researcher. Um, so for me, it's really hard to get the permission to access to the documents. I visited multiple national museums or other public museums, and also some university museums or other local archaeological institutions, but still it's pretty hard to get all the access. So I use my personal connections. Since I finished my undergrad and master's in Korea, I have some personal connections in Korean archaeology. So I imagine how hard it's gonna be for other international researcher to get this kind of data. So I decided to open at least my data to all of you. And then I was thinking like why people reluctant to share their data. And I checked these articles by Marek and Burke 2018, and they summarize the multiple reasons not to share. And I marked for the several items that is more related to my case, like it takes some time to clean up and document the data for the release or technological limitation and investment of large amount of work, like efforts in documenting and etc. And then I want to add one more thing. I put it right here, like hosting the researcher can be a burden in different culture, especially in Korea or other Asian country. For example, I needed to wait just in the country, just wait like more than a week to schedule to visit the museum, to like depends on the director of the museum's lunchtime, because they really want to have lunch with me, even though I don't really need to do that. I don't really have time to do that, but it seems like they have some like obligation in their mind that they need to spend time with the visitors, to properly treat them, and or they want to provide some accommodation for me, which is also can be a burden for them for in terms of the finance or something like that. Oops. Yeah, now I want to briefly talk about why I want to share. The Mark and Burke 2018 also summarized the benefits to share or reason to share. And I also marked some item that is more of my case. I want to be a good community member for the academia, and I want to encourage people to share and having other to share with me, and the potential to set up standards for the field and increase in publicity and track metrics of impact to reduce or verify the research, and to enable others to ask new questions of extent data. So I want to show how I share my research first, and then move into my research. So I posted or uploaded my whole repository in this OSF site, and you can see there's a link that you can see my work. It generates DOI, and it also connects my GitHub, which contain all of my codes and raw data. And I also added my manuscript so that you can see all my research and all my writings. So today I'm not gonna go over all the stone artifacts related analysis. These are, I put it here, some figures from my paper, but you can freely go to my website and my OSF page and read this manuscript. And if you have questions, just let me know about this. In my manuscript, I also mentioned about my, I introduced about like where I shared my, all of my works. And then again, this OSF site connected to my GitHub. So if you can go to the GitHub page, and you can see all my analysis, all my codes, and even you can track like when I made a change. I have my advisor, Dr. Ben Marik, as a contributor. So you can also see that my interaction between my collaborator. So for example, it's just personal information. I just bought a new computer last week. So I wanted to check whether my new computer can run all the codes, or should I, updated my RStudio or package. So I made a tiny change right here and then run it. So it worked. So as you can see, you can you can check like what I did and how I change, or your collaborators change or something like that through my GitHub page. So this is my actual working space, which is RStudio, and you can download my all codes and everything through the GitHub, and you can freely open my package here, my project here, so that you can check out the same page with mine. As I mentioned, I shared all my raw data and my figures and paper. You probably won't see the submission related further, because I put as a git ignore thing, so that it's kind of private until I got actually permission to get publish my work on that journal. Yeah, if you click the data folder, then you can see all my, raw data, so that you can use it for your own research about Korea or Northeast Asia or Paleolithic period or whatever. So to understand the environmental context for my research area and research time, I use some simulation data from other researcher, because in Korea, we don't really have like climate research. A lot of research just simply say, oh, that times of period is just simply drier and colder. So it doesn't really make a huge impact on my research. So I found this research by Bayer et al. 2020, and this simulational data set offers like monthly temperature, precipitation, like cloud covers and humidity and wind speeds and etc. for with the high resolution. So I decided to use their data as a reference for my environmental context. So you can find this paper through online, and then they share their data and code so that I can easily adapt. And I found their repository, which is this, and you can download it, the whole data set, which is pretty heavy, so that I couldn't like upload on my GitHub because it's super heavy. And also I downloaded the R script and then converted to like my data and my time periods. So that's the, oops, sorry. Yeah. That's the results for the research. So I only applied the mean annual temperature, like MAT, for this context. So MAT at this Korean peninsula, it's like over the study period is about 2 to 10 degrees Celsius. And the East Coast is relatively lower than West Coast. And the temperature gradually decreased until LGM, which is here, the last glacier maximum around here. And the first appearance of standpoints, which is the transition, the technological transition, occurred in the middle of the decreasing pattern, decreasing trend, like around here. And I can see the negative relationship between the temperature and elevation. I added the elevation element to the proxy too, because that's only I can get for the ecological context. Like, so I basically applied the location information, the longitude and latitude, and then elevation for this data set. And the second one, to understand the demographic trends, I applied this method from Dr. Annika Kramer and Andrew Weban. They were introducing a new method, a new package, R package called R Carbon. And this one is open resource software package for R statistical computing language, so that you can easily adopt for your research. And then this one can generate 4 different type of models for that you can easily adopt. And you can find more information through this paper and their vignette here. So I went to their vignette and then studying how to use this package and their models, and then apply to the Korean data. So that's the results. They help us generate the 4 different models: linear model, exponential model, and logistic model, and uniform models. But the patterns are actually really similar. And to test which model is most fitted case for my research, I do the AIC tests, and the smallest number is the linear model. So I So I thought the linear model is the best fit for my case. And then this result shows that the population increased until 35,000 years ago with the lot of fluctuations, and then remaining at the peak for a while for 3,000 years ago, 3,000 years, and then declined with the bigger fluctuations. So around here, the standpoints and the technological change was occurred. So I conclude that the population dynamics were not the main or key trigger of the technological transition. This is the research summary. So I skipped all the stone artifacts analysis. So it's pretty maybe hard to understand right away, but you can always check my manuscript. So I just want to show the brief summary for my research. And the first question, sorry. First question, what changes in foragers' landscape use were associated with the introduction of the new tools? I used elevation data and temperature simulation data. So the hunter-gatherer groups with the standpoints, the new tool, could occupy higher elevation where the temperature was lower, and the temperature gradually decreased until LGM, suggesting that the standpoints may have been part of adaptation strategies. And a second question, what changes in the way people use habitation sites and mobility were associated with the new technology? I used an artifact analysis for that, and the new technology is more associated with the expedient technological strategy, which is less mobile and long-term occupation, using the artifact density and retouch ratio. I conclude this. New technology is closely related to raw material consumption patterns, for example, increased use of finer grained raw material. And probably the demographic patterns wasn't playing important role for this transition. And finally, the conclusion for this talk, I had a lot of benefit of the open science for this research. I could easily leverage already curated, already simulated data. And I could quickly incorporate new methods with the shared code. And therefore, I want to invite the researcher and public to explore and collaborate and reproduce my research, because I also shared my research. Yep, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.